Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nate. Today is TBR time. Today I'm going to be working on my November TBR. I am doing a 30 volumes of manga in 30 days challenge where I have made my own manga bingo and made it into a little readathon. I am doing that, but I still want to play my TBR game because I still like to read 4 or 5 books throughout the month of November. I am going to insert a clip here of me talking about the reads that I did in October and the points I got for them because I'm filming this a couple of days early and so I don't 100% know. That will be in here. The point system is basically something I have implemented into my game so that I can buy books. I'm kind of on a book buying ban because I have a ton in my physical TBR that I do want to read. So I've implemented this point system so that I can earn points to buy books in the future so that I don't basically just go to the works every week and just spend a shit ton of money, which I probably would do if I wasn't on this book buying ban. So this is my points graph and this is how it ended up being for the end of October. I'm just going to quickly run you through what the points are and what I get them for. I get 1 point for every book that I read, so I read 14, so I got 14 points for that. I also get 1 point for any books that are on my TBR game for the month, so 8 of those books were on my TBR game, so they got an extra point each, so that's for 8 points for that. And then we have the page section. So if a book is less than 300 pages or it is a manga, it gets 1 point, so I had 4 of those this month. If a book is between 300 to 400 pages, it gets 2 points, so I had 6 of those this month, which gave me 12 points. And then if a book is between 400 and 500 pages, it gets me 3 points, so I had 4 of those this month, so I got 12 points. I didn't have any that I read that were over 500, so I didn't get any points for that. And I also didn't read any books this month that I had owned for over 3 years, so I didn't get any extra points for that. I did, however, have 1 book that I had bought less than 3 months ago, so I got 1 point for that. Next year, that is going to change to just be a 2024 release, but I'm kind of at the point where I can't really remember when I bought some things this year. So next year, the owned for less than 3 months will be a 2024 release. I had 1 book that I had finished in the series, so that got me 1 point. And then I had 20 points from a challenge. The challenge for this month was I got a book that I had to read in a day, which I successfully did. I actually got 2. One of them I didn't do, so I didn't get the 20 points for that, but one of them I did do, so I got 20 extra challenge points. And then I did not carry over any points from last month because I ended on a 0 because I had bought a book that took all the points from September. So now it comes to the deduction of points. I didn't buy any new books this month, so I didn't have to deduct any points for that, but I did have to deduct some points for books unread. Any books that I get from my TBR game, if I don't read them, I deduct their point value from the overall score. This might change in the future, and I might put it down to just deducting 1 point per book, depending on how it goes. It's still a bit of a trial run, my point system. So, but anyway, this month I didn't read 4 books, and which meant I had to deduct 14 books from the total. So that left me with a total of 56 points for the end of the month of October. So I'm going into November with 56 points. So if I wanted to, I could buy just under 2 books. I probably would give myself to buy 2 books, and then in the month I will make up the point system. It's kind of, as long as I'm ending the month on not a minus. Like, I don't want to get to a point where I'm like minus 100 because I've bought a load of books, but like minus 2 or 4 I think is fine. But yes, so that's the point system. I hope that's not too confusing. This is more of a thing just kind of for me, but I did want to kind of explain it so that if people were interested in what I'm kind of doing with this point system, you kind of know. But yes, back to the game. So they are the points left over from October. I'm really happy with the amount of stuff I got read. Obviously I got nowhere near as much done as was on my TBR, but I think I did get a good chunk done. So going forward with November, the only real goal that I have in November is I'm trying to work on my A to Z of books. I have, I think, about 10 left for the year. So I have a list in mind of the letters I need. So I'm going to be trying to get some of them into this TBR game. But otherwise, I'm just going to see what happens. And yeah, we're just going to play the TBR game and see how it goes. So I think without further ado, let's get on with our rolls. So we have our board. We're playing with a little Hulk figure today who will start here. And let's roll. 1. And that is a blue for an A to Z book. Okay, that looks kind of like I cheated. I did not. That is random. But okay, an A to Z book. What a perfect first prompt. Not cheating, but it works out really well. And for that, I'm actually going to pick a book that is also my book club book pick for, like, me and my sisters do a book club. And this is my pick, and that is Killers of a Certain Age by Deborah Rayborn. This is a book that is about a group of older women assassins who have been in the industry for a while and have retired. And they are going on a cruise. And while on their retirement cruise, they are basically realize they are being targeted by the people that used to employ them. And I think it's about them ganging up to survive and kind of show their old employer that, you know, killers of a certain age are still worthwhile. This just sounded really interesting to me, and so I wanted to buy it since I heard people talk about it. I don't 100% know if it has the best ratings on Goodreads, but I'm just very excited about it. So yeah, this is a book club book as well. So I got that on there. It will hit my K. So I'm happy about that. For my A to Z, I only do the actual first letters. So anything that has the in it wouldn't count. So that's why I think I'm as behind as I was. Because if I did it the other way, I definitely would have hit some of the others if I accepted the, but I don't accept the. So yeah, this is the first book on the TBR, which is fantastic because it's one I wanted to get on there. Roll number 2. A 6, lovely. Which is a green. Oh, don't wobble. A UK author. Okay, for a UK author, I'm going to be trying to hit my J for my A to Z, and that is Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre. I have never read this, and I am slightly intimidated by this because it is just about 400 pages, and I don't have an audiobook for it, so I would have to read this one, which most of the other classics that I have read, I haven't enjoyed, and then ones that I've listened to, I've liked more. But I do hear really good things about this, and I think I've seen an adaptation of it, like a BBC TV series or something. I don't 100% remember what it's about, so I'm not actually going to read much about it. I think it's a classic. Most people have read it who know what it's about. I'm excited to see what it's about. But yeah, it would also be another alphabet one, so that would be really good. And that would clear like the first half of the alphabet for me, because then all of the others are in the second half of the alphabet. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to put Jane Eyre on there. A bit different as well. And yeah, I haven't actually read a Bronte sister book either, so this will be nice to get that on there. On to roll 3. 4. Another green, which is a book box. Okay, for book 3, book box, I didn't have any that kind of hit any of my letters, so I'm going instead for Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I've heard such good things about this. People absolutely love this book, so I'm just really excited to see what it's about. I don't know if it falls under fantasy, but I think it's a kind of enemies or like rivals to lovers, maybe slightly historical or like set in World War II times maybe. 2 rivals, 2 stories, 2 hearts, 1 fate. This is the Fairy Loot edition, and it is just absolutely stunning. So I'd love to get this read, and I believe it's the first in a series, and then it would just be really nice to actually be able to read the series sequel when it comes out. Yeah, so Divine Rivals. Let me have a quick read of what it's about. After centuries of sleeping, the gods are warring again. All 18-year-old Iris wants it to do is hold her family together. With a brother forced to fight on behalf of the gods now missing from the front line, and a mother drowning her sorrows, Iris's best bet is winning the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. But when Iris' letters to her brother fall into the wrong hands, those of the handsome but cold Roman Kit, her rival at the paper, an unlikely magic connection forms. Okay, so it definitely has magic and it has gods and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to see what this is about. Going on to roll 4. 3. Okay, so this is our first spinner of the game, and it's also a black. So let me get my spinner wheel up. A series, of course, that's always usually the one we end up with first. And then the black for this is to read for 2 hours straight for 10 points. So we got a series jar. The challenge is to read for 2 hours straight for 10 points. This just means to sit down with no interruptions and read for 2 hours straight, which I've done once before, and it was actually really enjoyable to kind of do that and like really immerse myself and not think about picking my phone up all the time. But for series, I mentioned last month, I had changed my rule a bit. I've changed it again. This is now my series jar. I painted this relatively recently, and I have decided instead I've just put all of the series I'm actually in the middle of in this jar, and then every time I complete one, I will randomly pick a new series that I have and put it in here. So I am just going to randomly pick one. So let's have a shake, and we will pick this one, which is a Game of Thrones one, a Song of Ice and Fire one, which is fine. I just kind of, they're big books, and I have a lot going on this month, but that's fine. I don't know, this is Dance of Dragons, but I am on a Storm of Swords. This is part 1, Steel and Snow. So it's actually not terribly long. It's like 600. Yeah, once you take out all of like the back stuff, it's like 560 something. So it's not actually terribly long. Yeah, this is just continuing on with the Song of Ice and Fire series. I am looking forward to carrying on reading this. It just takes me a while because I do read the whole thing, and it's quite chunky, and the pages are quite thick, and sometimes it can be very dense and a little bit boring, but that's fine. I'm excited to see the current continuation of this. I'm guessing this is like season 3. Yeah, I can't always remember exactly what happens in the beginning of seasons, but obviously I remember like the end plot twists, the big 9 episodes, but I don't always remember what the beginning of the series was for the season. So I'm excited to read this and to see what it is. Like, we're about halfway now, and I haven't actually put a manga on there yet, and I'm like, okay, so that's what I should probably be thinking about now for the future rolls. But let's go to roll 5. 6, which is another blue, and over 4.1 on Goodreads. Okay, so for over 4.1 on Goodreads, I'm going to be putting on Monster Volume 2. This is by Naoki Urasawa. This was one I originally wanted to get on my 25 for my bingo, and then realised I had read the prompt, or I didn't remember it properly. This is the second volume in a, I would say, sci-fi horror-esque manga. I don't know, not sci-fi, I guess a crime detective-y manga. I don't know if it is horror-y. It is about a doctor who basically fails to save the right patient. The surgery basically wanted him to save this guy who was a prestigious member of parliament or something, and he chose to instead work on a car accident victim of a child. Years later, he has kind of been disgraced because of this, and it's affected his career, and that child has grown up to kind of be a serial killer, I think. Yeah, that's kind of what I remember from the first one. I'm interested to see where this goes on and develops in the second one. I can't remember everything that happened in the first one, so I might have to just do a quick flip through. But yeah, I'm excited to read this anyway and see what happens, see what goes on. On to the next row. 2. So that is a green and a blue. So the blue prompt is a series with less than 5 books and a historical setting 50 plus years ago. So this is kind of cheating and slightly bending those prompts. So a series with less than 5 volumes, fine, I've got that. But a historical setting is the one that I'm kind of twinging, because this book is a kind of fantasy book, but it is set in more of a historical fantasy kind of element where there isn't like electronics and stuff. So that's kind of the way that I'm going to go. I'm going to go with that one. And that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I read Six of Crows this month and I really, really enjoyed it. So I would love to read this. And it is set in a world where there's not really like tanks, I think, came into Crooked Kingdom, and that was like a big thing. So that gives me vibes of like over 50 years ago, but obviously it's a magical world. So it's not like though I was going to be putting on the next In the Mortal Instruments series, which is set in like modern day life, but is fantasy. This does give me more of a historical feel, but in a fantasy world. Yeah, this is the continuation of Six of Crows. It is a duology set in Leigh Bardugo's Grishaverse. The first one was about a heist, 6 unlikely people coming together to perform an impossible heist. This book is going to be kind of about the aftermath of that. I believe. I haven't read the back, and I don't want to because I really liked the first one, and so I just kind of, I like going into sequels blind, but I'm excited to read this. I know my sister really enjoyed this series. She liked this series much more than she liked Shadow and Bone. I really liked the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but I did also really enjoy Six of Crows, and so I'm very excited to continue on with the series. There's a couple of chunky books here actually, so let's get to the end. Let's get to the end now. A 6, which is just a green, which is smallest book on the TBR. Yes, this is the shortest book that I have on my TBR. It is Nick and Charlie's Heartstopper novella. I don't know if I have to like have read the whole of the graphic novel series before reading this, but I'm gonna just read this. I picked it up in a charity shop just to continue with the series. It does also hit my N though, my alphabet, so that works out really nicely. I'm just flicking through it. It does have a few little illustrations here and there, and yeah, I think it'll be a very easy, very quick read. I haven't really read that many novellas, so I'll be interested to see what it does, if I feel like it adds anything, but also it'll be interesting to actually kind of read about their story, because obviously I've only really read Alice Oseman's style via graphic novel. I've not actually read anything she's written as a novel, and this will potentially be our last roll. So we need 3 to get to the end, and we did, which is lovely. So we have a blue, which is a hyped book, a green, which is an adult fantasy hyped book, and then a black, which is to read in one day. So I need to be a bit thinking of this. What I think I'm going to do is on my Goodreads, I'm going to go by number of ratings, and kind of sort by that, because I think anything that's got a load of ratings is going to be obviously quite hyped. I mean, the first thing that kind of comes up quite obviously is the ACOTAR series. I have the first one in A Court of Thorns and Roses. Do I want to commit to that now? Ooh, okay. So for a hyped adult fantasy series, I'm actually going to be putting on The Final Empire. Now, I am halfway into this, which is why I'm putting it on. I don't want to take this book into next year with me, so I need to kind of try and get it on a TBR to finish. I did put it on last month's TBR, but it was on the Becca Spookopolon TBR, which were less of a priority than my books, so I didn't read it. Yeah, I have 300 pages. I think I'll be able to get that read in a day. And yes, it is a high fantasy, and I think because it's Brandon Sanderson, it is quite hyped. I was really liking this. I was enjoying the series. At the time I mentioned before, I was kind of just reading a few other series, so I just put this down and then haven't picked it up again. So I think getting it onto the official TBR will be good, because then it will be done, and I think 300 pages I will be able to read in one day. So this is going to be the final book on the TBR. So I ended up with 7 books on the TBR and 1 extra manga, so more books than I wanted, and some of them are actually quite chunky, but I think I should be fine with them. So let's do a little recap of what we're reading in the month of November. For a hyped adult fantasy, I will be reading The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. For the smallest book on my TBR, I'll be reading Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. For a series with less than 5 books that is a historical setting, I will be reading Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. For a book with over a 4.1 ratings on Goodreads, I will be reading Monster by Oroki Nurasawa. That is volume 2. For a series jar, we'll be carrying on with the Song of Ice and Fire series with A Storm of Swords, Steel and Snow. For a book box, I'll be reading Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. For a UK author, I will be reading Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And for an A to Z book, I'll be reading Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. So that's my stack. Not too bad. I don't have the audiobook for any of these books, so I will be trying to physically read them all. We'll see how that goes, because I do have my manga-a-thon, my manga bingo in November, and I also just have a lot of uni stuff that I need to be doing, so we will see how that goes. But this is the stack. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. Let me know what you will be reading in the month of November, anything exciting. I am excited for December because I have like 3 Christmassy books that I'm going to actually try and get. Well, I'm going to read in December, even if they're not on my December TBR, but I am excited for that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you again hopefully soon.